Welcome back to Become a Calm Mama. Today on the podcast, I've invited Jessica Etting to come and talk to us about a new app that she created for families to make life simpler. Jam Family Calendar is not just a calendar app. It also helps you organize to-do lists as well as shopping lists. And you can connect those to-do lists and those shopping lists to the events on the calendar, and you can assign them to different members of your family. So you can assign them to your partner, to caregivers, to grandparents, to nannies, to whoever is helping support your life. And then the coolest feature is that any emails that you receive that have information about like your kids' upcoming recitals or this annual school calendar or camp calendar, any of those things, you can forward them to the Jam Calendar app and they will auto-populate all of those dates and to-do lists and items to bring in the app. So it's a really powerful tool. I'm really excited to share it with you. Jessica's lovely. We have a really great conversation about family life and mental load and all the things that make life hard and a solution to make it a little bit easier. So please enjoy this interview with Jessica Etting. I'm really excited to have Jessica Etting on today. She is going to share with us a lot about the mental load and just that pressure we feel as moms. So I want to just say hi to you, Jessica. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll get into all the details.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's so nice to be here. Yes, my name is Jessica. I'm the founder of Jam, which is a calendar and organization app for families. Before that, I had many years in the entertainment industry, doing all sorts of storytelling and film and TV. And then I became a mom, and I started to see all the challenges out there for parents, especially in today's kind of very busy modern times. That kind of inspired me on a path towards how can we make life easier for families and parents out there. And honestly, especially for the moms who I think we all know shoulder a lot of that burden day in and day out. And, just ways that we can make all that a little bit easier for everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's so important, this discussion and apps like Jam or just solutions, because yes, as we're going to get into, it's a lot. It's a lot of expectations and a lot coming at moms, particularly parents in general, but of course, moms in particular. And why I wanted to have you on is because we have this podcast has become a Calm Mama. And on this podcast, we talk about parenting strategies, mindset work for moms, the demands on parents. And one of the major things is the mental load on moms. And that is so I think sometimes as women and as moms, we think something's wrong with us because we can't get it together. Like we just can't figure it out. And then, my audience, they listen to this podcast and they're like, this is all great. And I still feel really overwhelmed. And the
Yes.
strategies that I offer are all incredible, super valuable. And at the same time, they don't really address sort of this bigger picture problem that I see it as like each family is dealing with these micro overwhelm in their own life, and they don't realize
Yes.
they're part of a bigger system of this mental load as we're talking about it. So I wondered if
Right.
you could speak to that, like what is that big picture that you see in families and the general overwhelm, make it a little normalize it for all of us. It's not just
Mhm.
you going crazy, like there's stuff going on that makes it hard. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. And I can speak firsthand to the fact that it is happening to everybody, but also everybody seems to think that they're the only one and everybody else has it figured out. When we were talking to so many families as we were developing Jam, that was the number one thing we kept hearing. Oh, I know everybody else has it figured out, but I just can't figure out. We keep double booking and we keep this and we keep forgetting to leave the house without everything we need. So it's shocking that so many of us are feeling this way, but thinking we're the only ones that don't have it. Kind of going to the bigger question of what is the mental load and, why is it kind of existing in such full force for all of us?
Well,
There's been a
I
lot
want to
of,
say something. I was just thinking about that argument in the car that people have, like either the parents or like your sort of frustrated with your kid because they didn't bring something or you're mad at yourself, so then you dump it on your kid, then everybody gets out of the car and arrives at the thing and acts like we're all normal. But we all had a little bit of a shit show in the car or at the
Yes,
house. And then we all like feel this small amounts of shame or embarrassment, but no one talks about it. So yeah, like it's happening
that's
everywhere.
exactly right. That's exactly right. Or feeling like, oh, we almost ran out of the house without knowing it was the certain spirit day or the this or the that, but we're going to really quickly try to pull it all together so nobody knows that we actually had no clue. And so much pressure, that we put on ourselves. And I get it and I feel it too. But I agree with you that kind of normalizing that none of us have it covered all the time. And it's actually, especially in today's age, I think impossible to just be on top of every single thing all day long, all the time. We want to try to be proactive and organized, but I also think that a little bit of grace goes a really long way too.
Yeah. Well, my mother-in-law's in town and I just asked her if she'd ever heard the phrase mental load. And she was like, no, she's like
Yes,
just turned 80. I was like, it's like that thing that moms do that we just have like all the schedules in our head and all the to-do lists and all the things we need to get, all the things everybody needs. And it's almost like a file folder or like your Google Doc inside your brain. Your brain is
yes.
Google inside
It's like
your
it's like
family.
a Google or a ticker tape, like boop, 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 what's next, what's next, what's next, all day long. Yes,
Uh-huh. Yeah, because I feel like in my family, I have older kids now, but they'll say all the years, like, Mom, what are we doing today? Mom, what's going on?
yes,
Mom. And I feel like
yes.
I'm the Google for mom, like, Mom.
That's
And then
right.
I'm, trying to tell them all the things and tell my husband all the things. And yeah, so that mental load is like what we carry. It's everything that makes the family run, right?
It's
And
yes,
if you think about it like a Trello board or a spreadsheet or something like that, it
yes,
would be an intensive amount of information and we're carrying it in our brain. And
yes.
what's the impact of that? What do you see?
So I wanted to say you're so right. It is literally being all carried in the brain and with kind of no place to put all of the information because there are so many logistics that are coming at families and all of us every single day. It's the schedules, it's the things that need to get bought, it's the things that need to get done before the thing that's happening on Friday. And so much of this is only known by mom. It's the text message that you got that the ride for your kid on Thursday is actually not going to happen. So now you need to find a different ride that you either need to handle yourself or you need to now communicate to the rest of your family so they can also help figure things out or know where they need to be or what they need to do. And I think what we see as a result of this, you're basically turning your brain into this operating system. We see a number of ways that this plays out. First and foremost, tons of research shows that this level of mental load that moms are carrying because they tend to carry it, 90% more than men are, than their male partners, is it's anxiety, it's stress, it's depression, it's burnout. But I think what we see even more specifically day in and day out is that you're trying to maybe sit there and enjoy a few moments with your child after school or on the couch. And your brain is saying to you, oh, 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 I got to make sure that we put that thing in the backpack. That, oh, shoot, did I defrost the chicken for dinner? Oh, this one is going to need a ride in 10 minutes. And I didn't tell my husband yet, even though maybe he was supposed to already know. But if I don't remind him, he'll forget. So it's kind of like when you can never turn off your brain, you can't be as present and you don't get those like kind of recharge moments, which is then obviously what leads to that burnout and anxiety. And I think even going a step further, I know for me, if I'm feeling stressed out or if I'm feeling anxious, then I'm going to snap more quickly. If I'm not present and my kid's asking me questions, but I'm sitting there thinking about all the stuff I need to get done, I'm not going to look them in the eye and just give them a calm answer. I'm going to go, what? What'd you say? And that's obviously not the way that we, want to go through life. But when it feels like the information is coming at us so fast that our brains can barely have time to process it, that's what happens a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I see it in my work because I work specifically with moms all day every day that they are like what, I can't handle this right now. They'll snap and say something like
Yes.
that, or like, this isn't important right now, and it's so
Mhm.
important to their child in the moment, or their child is sensing that anxiety. They're, catching
Mhm.
they're looking for co-regulation. Their parent is dysregulated. And so then they're,
Yes.
not able to co-regulate. And I never, on this podcast, we're really careful to like not make people wrong. Like,
Mhm.
you know, it isn't because you're bad. There's something wrong with you.
Mhm.
You're like not calm enough. Like, it's also because of what we're talking about. We have so much in our heads. And there are tools like what you've created with Jam that are helpful for people to regulate their schedules and have plans and all of those things. And I think it's that vigilance that we're talking about where you're just kind of like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it becomes a habit of stress in many ways to get like you can't relax because you're pretty sure you're going to miss something if you do. So you
Yes.
stay in that vigilant state, and it's using apps like Jam that are helpful for us to teach ourselves, oh, I already stressed about that. I already thought about that. Or, oh, that's on my list. Let me put it here and then deal with like future me can deal with that
Yes.
if I tell her, right? I can relax in the
Yes.
present because I've got future me handled. Or hey, you know what? Past me, hook me up and set me up for today. So I'm good. I can relax. And I think we have to trust ourselves in these apps and using them because that vigilance can become a pattern. And I don't know if you've seen that for
Oh, I
yourself or
listen, that was how we founded this. I before Jam, I used to try to go to bed at night. And oh, there it begins. Oh my gosh, we have to fill in the blank of all the different things that have to get done tomorrow, or that I forgot to tell my partner, or that I have to tell my kid before they go to school. And I would keep taking out my phone and emailing myself, right? Like just a brain dump email. And then I would wake up in the morning to this crazy, series of emails
from
because I had
yourself.
from myself. um, that and some of them that I couldn't even understand in the morning, right? And I had no place to put all that information,
Hmm.
to your point. And it does feel like such a relief if something pops in my head now at any time of day. I personally know if I put it in Jam, whether it's an event or something we need to do or buy, not only is it there for me to see later, but it's also there for my husband or my kids to see also if it's something that relates to them as well. I think so much of this vigilance comes from I am the only person who knows all the things.
Yeah.
And so when you give everybody else in the family the ability to access it a little bit more, that also helps take some of that off your shoulders. Even my husband will say to me sometimes at night, "Oh, we have to, pay that bill tomorrow. Put it in Jam. I can't really take in that information right now, so put it in Jam. We have a shared system now, and when I have time tomorrow, for sure it'll get done, no problem."
Yeah. Well,
Um,
we are burying the lead a little bit because we aren't giving them enough information about what jam is
yes,
yet. But
okay.
look how excited we are about it. Because so everyone is like, what are they talking about? What is jam? And do I need it? The answer is yes. Um, and it really is a solution for the mental load. It's a family calendar. And before we even get into the all the details, because I really do, I've been using it for the last hour. I didn't have that much time to explore it. But I want to take just a step back because I was thinking about when you were talking about going to bed. And maybe some moms would like to know, like, how many kids do you have? How far apart are they? When has it been the most overwhelming for you? Like, when did you create this? What years were so challenging? And I've noticed as a person who works with families that those like kind of 7-year old, it starts to kick in really once they get into sports and play dates and enrichment. The school information comes in. It can start younger, but it really is like we start getting information from other places like sports teams, Girl Scouts, church organizations, classroom
Right.
parties, school events, community events, your family events like extended family, birthday parties, so many different things that
Yes.
come in. And so tell us like about your kids and your a little bit of your backstory there.
Yeah. So I have three boys. They are 10, 13, and 14 now. Um, when I first started conceiving of Jam, they were all more of that elementary school age. And I do think
Three
they,
boys. Yeah.
three
Busy,
boys,
busy schedules.
busy.
Yeah.
That elementary school hits that age 6 or 7, and you are off to the races. And then you
Hmm.
get two in that sweet spot, and you are really off to the races. And I think, one extra detail of everything you were saying, the sports teams and the activities and the enrichment and the classes and plus school, and a lot of times your kids are not at the same school. One's in nursery school still, and one's in elementary. Right now, I have elementary, junior high, and high school. That's three schools sending me information every single week. Um, and so
And I
what
want to say how the information comes because it's not
that's what I was
consistent.
going to say.
It comes, okay, so I
Exactly.
get an email, I'm on a WhatsApp, I'm in
That's right.
the school newsletter, the teachers send
Yes.
stuff, it could be sent on the platform, like whatever your school district platform is, then whatever the platform the teacher is
Yes.
using. I cannot believe that the amount of information parents get, but then also the diverse sources. And then, of
That
course, you have the text
is correct.
messages, and some of them are on text, and some of them are on WhatsApp. It is a lot.
It is a lot. Throw in a few sports apps also, and it's
Yes.
a lot. And that is why, kind of going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this conversation, I mean, really, you look at a parent's phone or just computer, and it's like ding, 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 of all this kind of input, coming our way of what's needed in the classroom and coming in different ways. So then you're like, I have a vague recollection that someone sent me something about a class party. I was, in the middle of work when it got sent to me, but where is it? Was it an email? Was it a text? Was it on the WhatsApp chain? Was it in the portal? And now you're going and searching for all of that. So
It
that's what
makes
makes
my
it
heart
really
hurt
hard.
just hearing it, it's just when I asked my little mother-in-law, what did you have mental load? She says, "No, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about." I just think, well, because she got pieces of paper when
A
she
piece
raised
of
her babies.
paper that you
Yes.
could put on a bulletin board
Mhm.
and everybody could see it. And I think the second part of that is being in this digital age, not only are things just coming at us willy-nilly, but they can be changed on a dime. Oh, soccer's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday now, because we can just send a text to everybody. Before that would have entailed like, yes, sending a letter home or calling
Yeah,
everybody.
like a
So
phone
you
chain or
right.
something.
Right. So I think that the virtue of the digital era is that people, are able to like plan all these things and do all these things and change them very quickly. But that ends up having a lot more kind of stress and chaos and logistical challenges for the families that are intercepting all of these messages all day
Yeah.
long.
And I hear
Yeah.
from my mamas, like they'll talk to their parents about their stress, and their parents are like, you know, what are you talking about? Like I raised you kids and it wasn't this they it's not that they're I think they have compassion, but they have a little judgment. Like, what are you ladies doing
Mhm.
that's you're making it so hard for yourself?
You're overcomplicating it, or oh well, don't do so many activities. But even for people who are trying to be mindful about that, I mean, one sports team is a lot of output just by itself.
Yeah.
I
And
think,
that way, like if you were raising kids before cell phones, you would just show up at the baseball field or with a dance recital and it'd be like a sign or nobody would be there. You'd be like, well, I guess it got canceled. I don't know. And you just go home. And now
that's
you're
right.
just getting information or you stand around and then some other mom's like, I don't know. And then someone else is like, oh, I heard they were sick. Oh, okay, bye.
Yeah,
It just wasn't
exactly.
the same amount of info coming to your head. You were dealing with it more in real time, I think.
In real time. And I think there was really something to, even let's take birthday parties, for example, the way it used to be, even when I was growing up, you would get a paper invitation in the mail. You had to call to RSVP. We would put it on this bulletin board that was in the kitchen. Every day when I walked by it, I would see that invitation. I would know as a kid, I'm going to my friend's party on this day at this time. And we just don't have that when it's coming in
Mm-mm.
digitally and you're getting 10 evites
Yeah, the
and
kids have
it's a
no
yes, it's a no.
idea.
They have no idea. And it really we're talking about it being stressful on the parents, but it also really stresses the kids out, which then stresses out the parents. But my son used to always say to me, "You didn't tell me," even something he really wanted to do, like a party or his stuff. "You didn't tell me I had that today." And just because he wanted
Mhm.
to know ahead of time so he could, I guess,
Yeah, some
mentally
people are
prepare
built that
himself a
way.
little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just having a little more oversight of your own life as a kid is also, can be calming.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. Yeah, so we have also just I think I wrote here how the info comes. And it's a little bit more complex, in terms of like what the parents are expected to manage. There's Spirit Day and there's every week it's, sock day and crazy hair day. I mean, I don't remember any of this stuff when I was a kid. And
Yeah.
I know we're trying to make it fun for children, I guess. But I don't know how much fun it is for them actually if all the adults around are like stressed
Like
out about this.
manufacturing the fun, yes.
Yeah, manufacturing the fun. It's so true. And then so we have all these things and now we've done them, so we think we need to do them day 100, 100 days and like I don't
Right.
know. Um and then so it's a little more like it's more complex the way that we have assigned meaning to things that maybe aren't so necessary, like a birthday party or it can be simple, it can be easy, and yet we want to make it we almost complicate it in that way. And it's not it's everyone is in service of their children. It's all with the best intention.
Of course. Yeah. Of course, because you might be sitting there thinking it is so hard to keep up with all these kind of wants and needs of the spirit and this and that, but also I don't necessarily want my kid to be the only one who, missed the crazy hair day, and come home and
Totally.
be upset about that.
Yeah,
So
opting
thus,
out
I guess
doesn't
I will go
feel
through it.
Yeah, opting out doesn't feel like a solution
Right.
necessarily. I mean, maybe if these kinds of conversations that you and I are having, if we could have them on a larger scale and
Yeah.
have a bigger conversation
Yeah.
as a whole society, and decide maybe
Yeah.
this isn't necessary, but it is where
Yeah.
moms are at now. They do
Yeah.
have all this coming at them. And so let's now get into jam and like you just get to brag about it because it is a really impressive tool that you've created, you and your sister, Amanda. And
Thank
I
you.
just, I think you can just share with us all the features of it. It's really great.
Yeah, so Jam is an all-in-one calendar and organization app. It was born literally from the fact that, yes, I'm a mom of three kids, and my sister, who's worked in software for years, is a mom of two. So we have kids literally baby to teen. And look, we like to be organized. I wouldn't say I'm the most organized person on the planet, but that was the whole thing. I needed some help with that. We were both feeling like we were drowning under these logistics. And we both were used to work environments where there's like, a project management software, something that helps teams work together. And we were wondering, where is that easy app that helps the team of your family work together? And that also could then reduce a lot of the mental load on mom's shoulders. Because we both were sitting there going, look, we've got great partners, great husbands. They want to be involved, they are involved. And yet, somehow, by virtue of who the emails are coming to and what's going on, we're still the chief disseminators of all the information. And so
Mm.
we set out to create a product where we have the calendar, we have to-dos, we have shopping lists, all in one place where the entire family can access it. And we made it designed that kids can use it as well if they're old enough with permission. So are you a little kid, a big kid, a teen? Which allows them to maybe see the things you want them to see. Maybe you have a to-do list for them or a chore list for them every day, or you want them to see, hey, look, this is your schedule for tomorrow. You have soccer, so that means you need to pack your bag. Versus the way most digital calendars work today, if I was using like a Google Cal, I wouldn't let my kid near that because I'd be scared they're going to erase something or whatever. It's not really built for that. We also have caregiver features. So if you have a caregiver or a grandparent or a family member that helps your family out quite a bit, they can have access to what's going on as well. So a big thing we were trying to eliminate that we know a lot of moms are doing all day long, especially those who are maybe working outside the home, is that mile long text chain. where you're literally on
Mm.
a Zoom or you're in a meeting and you're getting the text. Wait, where was soccer? What are they supposed to bring? What hit? Or vice versa. The mom is sitting going, uh-oh, I better text because it's 3:30. I need to make sure they remember to pick up. So we're trying to kind of give a central place where everyone in the family can look. It's almost like that big kitchen whiteboard we always dream of having, but that I don't think works in real life because it hurts your hand to write all of that and then to erase it every month. And let's face it, you're not at home every day. So you don't know what's going on if you're out and someone asks you, what are you doing at 3 p.m. tomorrow? If you're not home, you can't answer. So we
So
kind of set
true.
out to create that kitchen board, but that you could access from your phone, from a tablet, from your computer, from basically any device at all that lets the whole family really work as a team and lets you have a place to put all that information.
Yeah. Yeah, so I started playing with it myself today, and my kids are in college, and so they I don't know. I could have them. I have to-do lists for them still. Like so
Mm-hmm.
and so needs to make a dentist appointment for June when they're home, and those kinds
Right.
of things. And
Yeah.
it can be hard. I have a few thoughts. One, I have a kid who has pretty severe ADHD. Talked about a lot on the pod, and he's 20. He's learned to use a certain app called Todoist. It's the app that he
Yes.
uses. And so it really is helpful for him personally because it aligns with his calendar and he can put something in a calendar and it creates a to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so then when he's in his to do list, it's connected and it's amazing
Yes.
for him. And I'm thinking of Jam, of like how helpful that could be for somebody who does have ADHD, who you're teaching as a young teen or, maybe late middle school, how important it is to check the thing, like go put
Mm-hmm.
everything in one place and then it gives you notifications and you kind of build a relationship. We all build a relationship with our calendar or our to-do list, and that's how we live, whether it's managed well or not. We all have those
Yes.
things. So I think it's so cool that kids can start to, obviously you're still going to be the net underneath as
Right.
the parent because you are, but
Right.
I don't know. I don't want to create hyper productivity young adults. Like I don't, but it's just like a habit of like, hey, have you checked your whiteboard? Have you checked your Jamboard?
Yes.
It's kind of like I just think that could help families who are, especially if there's any executive functioning, have
Yes,
dysfunction.
100% agree. And I think it's really more about like empowering responsibility in our kids and them having a little more ownership over like what their day looks like and how they might need to plan accordingly so that everything can happen. To use that example again, they have soccer practice. So there are things that go with soccer practice. You have to, pack a bag. You need to fill a water bottle. So starting to learn between that relationship of events and to-dos, like you were saying, and that was one of the reasons when we created Jam. We're like, it can't just be a calendar. It has to be a whole system that works
Yes, and
together
that
because,
that is how it's organized. Like
yeah,
if you have an event, you could put your to-dos attached to
that's
it. And
right.
that's a really nice feature of it.
Yes.
And then, with little check boxes and it's kind of
E-
contained to the thing, to the event itself.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Because I think that's like the one piece where everyone in the family might know that there's a recital on Friday. But in the past, maybe only mom knew all the things that meant that had to get done beforehand. Someone needs new shoes, and we got to get flowers, and we got to email the family to tell them about the tickets. So all of these things in our lives, they do require, some forethought and things that you need to do ahead of time. And so I think it's great to instill, a little bit of responsibility and good habits in kids because obviously we know that's going to be something that they're going to have to do for the rest of their lives as well. Where, like you said, the parent is the net, but also, they feel so good kind of knowing what they have and being able to be responsible for it as well, too.
Yeah, it is. It is a good feeling when you're even 7 or 8 and you're supposed to have your shin guards and your water bottle and, your ball, and then you're ready. It feels good. Like kids like
Yeah,
that. That's a really great little dopamine thing. That's not
that's
their
exactly right.
tablet.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
And I was also thinking when you're sharing about the concept of fair play,
Hmm.
and Eve Rodsky's work around, creating, distributing responsibility a little more evenly in families, and how that is an amazing concept for sure. But in practice, it can be really challenging. If my partner, say he takes over the whole category of medical care, then I am still going to participate in some of it. Or I take over the category of finances, but I still need him to
Mhm.
participate in that category. This kind of can
Right.
create a way that everybody is aware of what it needs to be done. And I think about that question that women get of like, like you said about your partner. It's like, how can I help? How can I help? And we're just so
Mhm.
like, oh my God, how do you not know what I need? Are you
Yes.
kidding me?
Yes,
Like you should just
exactly.
can't you tell? Look around.
Right.
Like,
Like, why do I know and you don't know? So,
yes.
I
And it's because
completely
we are
agree.
carrying, right, the whole category of
Hmm.
sports or whatever. We have
Hmm.
that. So breaking that down and that kind of thing. But it can be helpful to say, can you look at Jam?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
this is what I need you to do. And that way you've already thought about it, and communicating it a second, third, fourth time is so irritating.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it's really interesting because we talked to a lot of husbands, male partners as we were creating Jam too. And I think there's this misconception that the men don't want this or they're happy with how things are going right now. They're not happy either. They also feel like, in a lot of situations, like they kind of can't win or they don't have all the information. And so they're kind of operating like a little bit blindly sometimes. We've heard so many stories about sometimes people don't even know when they can schedule a meeting and they've, back and forth calling 5 times. It's so inefficient, to be honest. So the guys also tend to like it because it's just getting everybody on a system together. And so everybody is more aware. And then to your point, it's very easy to see when you're sharing a to-do list. Oh, one person's got like 10 things assigned to them, and I've got one thing assigned to me. So maybe we might need to re-divvy this up a little bit, or it's not really going to be fair moving forward, or it's just going to be really challenging. And I think kind of even going back to your fair play comment, which we love fair play, but yes, even if you really divvy it up and one person is kind of owning medical or one person is owning, enrichment, we all know how everyday life is, and we're
Yes.
constantly kind of subbing in for each other. So where does all that information live? I hope it's not in a mile-long text chain, or that you have to call someone, or that when you go out of town, you're leaving a 10-page, informational packet for your partner, which I know we've all done before. And so, trying to find a way that just feels a lot easier. And I think to that point too, we also didn't want, again, more pressure on mom to be putting everything in Jam. That's also time consuming, right? So we created things where you can just forward emails, like the whole school calendar, the whole
Yeah,
school
can you
newsletter.
say more about that? Because I don't
Yes,
I tried to play with that feature, but I don't have my kids are not in school anymore, which is
yes,
amazing. I don't get they're in school, but I don't get any information. I do not have school
right.
emails. This is my first year as an empty nester, and dear Lord, it my life is so much more simple without
Yes,
so much stuff coming at me from school primarily.
right.
Yeah.
Of
So how
course.
does that
Yes.
work? Tell me.
So basically, any email that you can get, you get. It can be a school newsletter. It can be like, you know, a 10-paragraph email from the dance teacher with lots of important information buried in there about rehearsals and, a recital, or it could be those camp emails that we all get with every day what's happening. You just forward it to Jam. You literally forward it to the software. It takes 1 second, forward, click, and then we get it all on the calendar for you for the right people, right time. If there's information in there about what you might need to do ahead of time or what you need to bring with you, that gets in there as well. Location, extra notes, everything. So
Incredible.
literally at the beginning of this year, with 3 kids' calendars, I was able to forward all three. Within seconds, every event for the entire school year was just loaded into
Uh,
our Jam calendar.
I'm smiling so big, and since this is podcast, you can't tell. I'm just like gleeful for any person who has children in school, and like to imagine getting something. And I noticed on, I think it was in your Instagram, like the hot meal calendar, and you
Yes,
just forward
lunch.
that to Jam,
Forward
and it
it.
was like you knew what was for
Yes,
each day is already on your calendar. Unbelievable. I mean,
yes.
Jessica, that is those small details that you guys have considered are game changers because Sure, I can get a calendar app. I can, get a to-do list, but to be able to have it auto inputted on like
Mhm.
from,
Yes,
whatever
from the source.
magic
Yes,
wizard you have behind the curtain there is
yes.
amazing.
Yes, no, for sure. I think being that Amanda and I are both moms, we were like, what are the pain points of moms? We've also seen so many times where mom is the chief calendar keeper, and that in itself is a lot of stress. And then you have someone in the family going, you never put it on the calendar. And as we know, poor mom is getting 50 things a day that she's supposed to be putting in the calendar. So
Mhm.
of course, it just leads to more chaos down the road. So to be able
Yeah,
to have
days
these kind of
off,
like,
minimum
yeah,
days.
the minimum
Yeah,
days,
winter
all of a sudden on
breaks.
Wednesdays, we start late now. I mean, the list goes on of
Mhm.
just the kind of variances to the schedule. And let's be honest too, the way that we work has changed in the last 5 years since COVID. And so maybe you're remote some days, but you're in office some days, but you travel some days. You can do a pickup on a Tuesday, but not next week. So we're all kind of not quite as like, as in the olden days, a 9 to 5 and one practice a week and everything on paper. It has grown a lot more complex, and keeping track of that in just your brain is a recipe to feel like a failure for sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I don't know if you're familiar with the app TripIt.
Yes,
Yes. So TripIt is this app that helps you organize a trip.
yes,
And it is, this reminds me a lot about TripIt. And TripIt has been a game changer for my family. We travel a lot. And I found it so irritating on a trip. Like, what are we doing today? Where are we going next? What time's our reservation?
yeah,
What's our flight? What's our booking number? And I just was like going crazy with all that information. I'm ordering an Uber. I'm checking the reservation. I'm telling somebody what time check-in is at this hotel,
right,
all on my phone. And like I had young adults and a husband, they all have phones. I'm like, why is it
right.
just me? And they started to say, it's on TripIt, it's on TripIt, it's on TripIt. And they could
That's right.
go and check.
That's
And
right.
that has been
Exactly.
amazing. Just
Yeah,
this one thing on trips. And I think what
yeah,
you've done with Jam is you've basically made something similar, but for your entire family management. It's
that's right.
unbelievable.
Thank you. That's right. Yes, every kind of aspect of that everyday life, to just be able to kind of get it to a place where everyone can see without you having to do all of that work, to be
Yeah.
honest,
And that's
because it's
similar
a
in
lot.
TripIt. You just forward plans at, and then it
Forward it.
auto
That's right.
populates into the
Exactly.
itinerary. And I just think if you had a life itinerary, you get information in one area and you forward it to the software and then it populates it. That is huge. And then the to-do
Exactly.
lists, really easy to assign. So if I,
I love assigning to dos is my favorite thing as a
yeah.
mom. I am assigning to dos all day long. And I also love it because, you can do a due date, but Jam sends reminders. So I don't have to be a nag. The Jam app itself is being the nag. So they're like,
Amazing.
did you do this? It's due later today. Um, and so it's just helpful also, just even with things, events that pop up on the calendar that I know Jam is reminding everybody, and I used to be that person reminding everybody.
It's
Um,
amazing. Just to
yeah.
like take something so complex as modern family life and
Mhm.
put it together on an app. I just commend you guys. I'm so like tickled that it exists and that we can share it with the Calm Mama audience. And yeah,
So,
I'm really, really glad. So how do people get it? And what's the story? Obviously, it's pretty easy because it's an app, but just tell us.
yes. So Jam is available on the App Store, on the Google Play Store, or you can just go to our website, jamfamilycalendar.com, and you can get it online. You can also have links to the App Store and Android Store there as well. And then you can find us too on Instagram. And so a lot of times when people have questions, maybe before they even want to download the app, we're on there at jamfamilycalendar. So that's another great way to just learn more about what we're doing.
Yeah. And when I went to go into this Apple store to get it, I put in Jam and it was like a bunch of games on Crash Jam and stuff like that. So then I had to go Jam calendar and then it
Yes,
came up automatically.
yes,
So probably type in jam calendar and then
That's
it'll
right.
be easier to
It's
populate. Because I was like, what is this?
that's
Like video
absolutely
games about
right.
crashing or traffic jams or something.
Traffic jams, right? Music jams. No, it's the Jam family calendar, Jam calendar. Any of those will work to find it.
Yeah, and then it's $10 a month if you don't buy
Yes.
for the year, or it's $80, I think you said on there.
So yeah, so it's $10 a month, but we are offering a 20% off. So it does end up being $8 a month, and that's for the entire year.
Yeah.
And then we do have monthly as well. And some people want to start with monthly, but I think the greatest thing is that no matter what, everybody gets a month free trial. So you can download it. There's no strings attached. There's no that you have to, buy it if you don't like it. We want you guys to try it and see if it makes a difference in your life before you subscribe.
Yeah. And I did it and I was able to put in my calendar from, I use iCal. So that went right in
Yeah.
and then it was there. And then I started to like, I have an event on Saturday that I'm hosting. So I started to kind of like put in my list and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
I might use this for myself. I was, even if I
Yeah.
don't get into it with my family, I was like, this would be helpful because I do have to-do lists everywhere, calendar everywhere, notebooks everywhere. I just feel a little bit scattered and I do the email thing to myself. And so
Mhm.
you could try it out just on your own. I would recommend like just to see how it feels for you before you even get into the assigning and it just kind of you could take it slow and like enjoy the process a little bit and not feel like, "Oh, I'm going to solve my entire home management issue now."
Absolutely. And I think what you just described is kind of a pattern that we see with a lot of people. And I think it makes sense. They get Jam, they kind of get the lay of the land, they see how they like using it, and then they, kind of clue the rest of their family and their partner or their kids. Once they've kind of, see how they like to use it and gotten a few things set up in there. And we always liken it to, back in the olden days, we used to, at the beginning of a school year or the year, you'd get that like fresh paper planner and you'd have the new pens and you'd write all the things in it. And that's what we kind of wanted to make the Jam onboarding process like. Like, here's a shiny new system. Take your time, make the list, pick the colors you want. Um, and which is what we have there. You can pick a color for your calendar for each list, and just make it the way that you want it to look and see every day, and the way that you want to use it.
Yeah, it's really great. And I think if anyone is thinking like, "What? I don't want to buy an app." I know I felt this way in my life before. But any app worth its salt is probably you're gonna have to pay some money for it. And I just like noticed the recipe manager I use is Paprika, and I've used it forever. And the
Hmm.
first time I ever bought it, I was like, "What? I have to pay?" I don't know. I was like annoyed. And then
Yes,
but I go buy a book, I buy a paper calendar, I buy all of these
right.
different things that are resources, organizers and file folders and all the things.
Hmm.
And here I'm like, what? No, it's worth it to sit. If you're going to use some, try it out. If you're going to use it, get it, buy it. It's worth it
Right.
because even like my son with his Todoist app, um it's $50 a year or something and he's
Hmm.
like, no, I need this. And it's like, well, I
Right.
would have bought a Franklin Covey calendar years ago for the same price ish or whatever.
Right.
So not
Right.
I think we have to normalize that, if you're buying a calendar, you're buying a calendar. Yeah.
Right. I think it's a really good point. Paper, you would never expect someone to give it to you for free. So you have to buy it. I think too, another thing, and this is why we're like so happy to offer a free trial, is I think a lot of families realize very quickly that they're saving a lot of like time and energy
Oh,
with it.
yes.
And so they're like, oh my gosh, I can't live without forwarding everything and just getting it on the calendar without having to do it like that. That time is so worth $8 for a whole month.
Yeah.
A
Right.
hundred
How much do you
percent. Like at
spend at
a
to like
Starbucks.
or
Yes.
forgetting something and having to run
Yes.
by Target to pick it up because you forgot and
Exactly.
you're like, well, that was
Exactly.
$30 and then you got to return the other one, blah, blah, blah. All of that is so annoying. So if
Exactly.
we can save some of that.
Exactly. Exactly. I know we always say that too, even the shopping list, like someone knowing what to buy, you're not double buying, all those things end up Jam paying for itself at the end of the day. But I really
For
do feel
sure.
like the time is the one that we're all looking for. It's our most valuable resource. And so, if there's a way to get a few minutes back, every day, we take it.
Yeah, totally worth it. Well, thanks for being on here. Oh, and I wanted to say, I also have a Sawyer. You have a son named Sawyer,
Oh my
right?
gosh, my middle one. Yes.
Yeah, my younger
Love
one is
that name.
Sawyer. Yeah, I
Oh
know.
my
So I
goodness.
wanted to say that because that was sweet. But thank you. It's so nice to meet you and have you on the podcast. What a pleasure.
Likewise. Likewise. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Mama, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, I want to encourage you to do two things. The first is go to my website, calmmamacoaching.com, and get a copy of the Stop Yelling cheat sheet. You'll get a step-by-step breakdown of the most important tool I teach, which is the pause break. And you'll also get 40 ideas to reset your body and balance your nervous system so you don't have to yell at your kids. You can get a copy of that, again, at my website, calmmamacoaching.com/stop yelling. The other thing I'd love for you to do is go to Apple Podcasts and rate and review this podcast so that other moms can discover empowering and helpful, practical parenting strategies, just like you did today. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. It means a lot to be in your ear every week and to support you on your parenting journey.